பண்ணுங்க.
Good morning to all. It's my immense pleasure to heartily welcoming everyone. I welcome our today's chief guest, Mr. CHITHAMBRAM, BE, MS, Enterprise Cloud Business Office Vice President, M&T Bank, Buffalo, NY, USA. I feel grateful to welcome our HOD, Dr. M.A. Neelakandan sir. It is his guidelines that this is going to be make the event successful. I welcome all the faculty members and my dear friends. Hope you are all going to enjoy today's session. Thank you. Now I request Mr. Kalimuthu sir to hand over the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dhanush. Thank you. Thank you once again. Good morning to all. My name is CHITHAMBRAM. I am a 2002 mechanical alumnus, 1998-2002 batch. Thank you to Neelakandan sir. I've been very grateful to him. He has been our guiding star while we were in the college, and I'm very happy and grateful that these platforms are well utilized in this dawn and age of technology. I'm very, very glad that we are using this. When we were in the college, we didn't have any such platform. Sir used to run the Rotaract Club for the college at that time. And we used to hang out in the chemistry lab most of the times just to do something with the Rotaract Club, even in our first year times. But thank you so much, sir. I am really, really happy that you're continuing, even have more expanded, multiplied your enthusiasm and curiosity to get these students, even after 20 years. That's now 22 years. This is an amazing. So you guys all should be grateful for staff like Neelandan sir being available in the college and to guide it. Thank you once again, sir. And I'm happy to present this discussion with you guys. Honestly, I'm not a great motivational speaker or anybody. I have some personal experience and I thought I will share with you guys. I want to keep this as interactive as possible. So please feel free to interject or ask any questions that you would like. And please feel free to keep this as a two-way conversation. You don't have to be formal. It's okay to ask anything. I'm here to tell something that I experienced and what I did with my life, with my career, with my experience so far. I'm here to share some of my experience and see if that would help you guys and guide you guys, if at all, if it does. So welcome to this college life. Most of you I'm here, I'm assuming in this call are all first year students who have joined NEC. So welcome to the college, welcome to the campus. The topic that I put for this discussion today, those who dream know their way to success. Actually, it's not my word or statement. While I used to be in school, so let me give you some background of where I come from. I am from Tirunelveli, born and brought up. I lived in Tuticorin and Tirunelveli most of my life. Well, first half of my life was mostly in India, so it's in Tirunelveli and Tuticorin. I did my high school from Tirunelveli, then got into National Engineering College. And it was not by choice or chance. I joined NEC because one of my schoolmates joined there, and I wanted to have company when I go to college. So that's how I ended up coming to NEC. And my intention was to become an aeronautical engineer. That was my goal when I was trying to choose. So during school days, a lot of us had different dreams of becoming what you would like. So if people asked me when I was 5 years old, people would ask me, what would you like to become when you grow up? And I would say I want to become a collector. I want to be a collector. I don't know why at that time I liked a collector, because maybe it was the reason because he had a motorcade. There were always 3 or 4 cars with him. There's a lot of people respected him. So living in Tuticorin, seeing a collector pass by, it was itself a big event or a feature. So I said to myself that maybe I should do this one day, and be like the collector. But as I grew, as I started educating myself, learning some of the things in the schools, or chatting with my friends, working and trying to find a career. So when I did my 10th grade, when I finished my 10th grade, my principal was telling me, "Hey, your interest has always been you didn't want to go into medical. For some reason, my principal, I don't know, I never showed any big interest in doing biology or science. I always felt comfortable with computers and engineering. So she said, you shouldn't waste your time taking biology. Maybe you should study computer engineering. And she said, go choose computer science. And that's how I ended up choosing computer science, not as a career, but just as all of my fond interest to do programming and stuff. Yeah, believe it or not, I started programming while I was in school. I used to win state level and district level competitions, not state level, district level and inter-district level competitions during that time. So my principal said, don't worry about wasting your time. Just focus on. And I ended up being my first in my 12th grade. At least in my school, I was the first in computer science engineering to score a high score. Um, and then during that time, I said I want to become an aeronautical engineer during that course of time. Though my interest was in computers, but I kind of felt fascinated with aeronautics engineering. But at that time, there were only two colleges in Tamil Nadu that actually provided engineering in aeronautics. IIT was out of my limit. I did try writing IIT JEE. I didn't leave any stone unturned. I gave my IIT JEE exam. I tried going into REC. In fact, I did get an REC seat somewhere in, I think it was REC Kashmir, Jammu actually. My mom said, no, you're not going to REC, Srinagar. So she said, no, you're not going to go to Srinagar to study. And then I came to NEC to do mechanical because at that time, I did say it wasn't by choice, but one of my friend did. But my friend also picked up NEC Mech. And mechanical engineering in NEC was very famous. It was 20 years around that time. I think it was like the 20th batch or something we were. And mechanical was very popular in NEC. It's one of the finest course of engineering. And my interest was, okay, let's do aeronautics. If I can't get into aeronautical engineering, I can always do BE mechanical and then go do masters in aeronautics and become an aeronautical engineer. The reason I'm saying this, all these things, is that during my school days, my chemistry teacher, I don't know how many of you are here from Tirunelveli, but how many of you have heard about Mangai Manavalan sir? He used to be a chemistry sir, and yeah, so a lot of people know about Mangai Manavalan sir. He was my godfather in school. Okay, so I'm very proud to say I'm his chemistry student. And see, the chemistry works even in school and college. I mean, Neelakantan sir is again from chemistry, so it kind of linked. I just made that link right now. Anyways, Mangai sir, when he comes into class, the first thing that he writes on the board is "Those who dream know their way to success." I don't know if he still writes during his classes or if he says during his tuition center classes that he takes these days. But that's what he used to write. It used to be a terror in his class. Anybody who attends his class would know. You have to pay attention. If you sway a little bit left or right, you're out of the class. And he makes sure that you're learning the basics properly. It is not about reading page 1 to page 200 in chemistry book and understanding what it is and vomiting it in the exam. He wants to make sure that you understand the basics, you understand the principle, especially in lab. I know a friend of mine who actually every single time he does a titration in the lab, he will miss the color and he would literally sweat like something um, because of his fear to Mangai sir, because Mangai sir would tear him apart, but he never did that. He just that builds the image that he would do. So Mangai sir would always write on the top of the board, "Those who dream know their way to success," and it always stuck to me. It was that time is when I got introduced to this word, and I'm a big dreamer. When I say a dreamer, it's not about dreaming to have a big mansion house, dreaming to have a big nice car. No, I wanted to do something. I want to be successful. It's about how do they say this? You want to make a difference in the society. I mean, it might sound very philosophical, but it is not. I always wanted to try and be something different from the herd. I didn't want to do the same thing that everybody did. I always wanted to clear my own path and create my own path, kind of thing. So that actually resonated whenever he writes, "Those who dream know their way to success." It resonated with me, and I truly believe that too. It was very, I didn't know that at that time, but as I started working through my goals and I started working through my career path, I felt that okay, I was able to do this because I dreamt about it one day and I was able to get to it. So dreams are great, but dreams will not help you just to get there. There's a lot of hard work that you have to put through. There's a lot of work that you need to do. You as a person need to do to achieve those dreams to be a good success, right? One of the things that I did is I always had the goal in mind. You set your vision straight, you put your goals out there, and you chase your goals with the plan. You don't just go and say, okay, just because I dreamt about it, it's not going to come and fall into your lap. I am a strong believer. I'm not an atheist. I moderately worship. I moderately believe in God, and but God doesn't give you everything. You have to put your effort. God is there just because it gives you the discipline that you need. You look at any religion, right? Be it Hindu, Muslim, or Jewish, or Christianity, Buddhism, doesn't matter. They are there to discipline you. They are not there to give you anything that you ask for. You can go and ask your God saying, okay, I need to clear my first year with no arrears. God will not give it to you until you write your papers in exams properly. You don't, if you don't prepare for your exams properly, it doesn't, a miracle doesn't happen that. Luck is always there, but a luck cannot 100% get you anywhere you want. You need to put your hard work. And when I say hard work, right? So a lot of people here would have okay, 10th standard, you go there, people will say 2 more years, you'll be fine. Clear 10th, you go to 11th, 12th, you get into a good group, be it commerce or science or computer science or biology, whatever it is. That is a destination that people say work hard on this, and then it'll be all easy. And then you come to 12th grade, then you'll say work hard on your 12th grade and entrance, go into a good college, it'll be easy. And then once you go into college, first year, second year will just pass by very fastly. And then you come to your third year and final year, that's when your placement will start working. And then you have to find yourself getting out of college. Either you do a master's or go find a job. People would say, work these 2 years hard, you'd be fine. Okay, you worked hard, you got a job, you went into a job, then people tell you your life is set. No, you'll be still be working hard because you have to grow in your career. So this path, whenever people tell you work this year too hard and then everything will be okay, that's not going to stop in 2 years. It's going to keep coming to you. I am still chasing that for the last 22 years after I passed out of college. Um, but it's a good thing to do because you have to have a goal, you have to have a plan, and that goal keeps changing. When I say the goal keeps changing, your milestone keeps changing to attain your end term goal, and that milestone is what you need to work on. A lot of people, what they do is um, you can't set up a lofty goal. You should set up a lofty goal, but you should have a plan that actually you can go and measure and say, to attain this, I have to cross 1, 2, and 3. And that 1, 2, and 3 should be measurable for you. If you are not able to measure it, then you're not going to be able to get to your goals or get to your plan to execute. So, my word for you guys is that dream big. You should always aim for the stars. That's what they say. And it's not a joke, it's a serious thing. You have to aim for the stars. But when you aim for the stars, you have to look at how do I get to those stars? You have to put your plan in place. See, if you just got into college, right? So college is exciting. This 4 years, it's a tremendous opportunity. Me and my friends, just before the call, I was just telling Neelan and Sarah that our friends in college, we still used to meet, we used to discuss. We all cherish our college days. These college days, once gone, you're not going to get it. You make your good or bad out of these 4 years. I'm not saying this. I'm as a just because I have to say this. It's not a joke. It's an experience that I'm saying. Well, some of the best things that happened to me were in college. Some of the very good things, some of your realization, self-realization, your ability to do something, all of those things happened in your high school period and your college 4 years. The 4 years in college teaches you a lot. Some of you are day scholars, some of you are hostelers, some of you are more independent when you come to college. That gives you the opportunity to learn how to self-manage yourself. You always lived in guidance under the guidance of your parents or your elders. When you are at school, and school you're still handhold. And the education system in India is different. And now I've lived in the US for the last 18 years or so. I could see the cultural difference. People say a lot. The school system here is totally different from the school system that we are exposed in India. But mind you, it's the bottom line is still the same. You learn the basics. How they teach the basics, how they learn, how do you get to those basics is what is different between the two nations in their education system. But the physics is still physics. They learn the same Newton principle, Newton rule of law 1, 2, and 3, and 4. The same 1, 2, and 3, and 4 is learned here also. It's no different for people here in the US or in India. So a lot of times, what people do in India is that they just chase for marks. Don't do that. That's not your dream. Getting a high scorer, high mark should be a dream, but not without understanding the basics or anything. I've spoken in college before, maybe 6 years ago, and I said the same to the first year kids. Here's the opportunity for you to learn the basics properly. So this 4 years in college is where you put a lot of things that you learned in school to use. Here is the opportunity to learn and experiment things that you learned during the school from a academic perspective, and from a life perspective also. It teaches you a lot: self management, self realization. You get to see people that you don't see normally in your day to day life. You are going to a school in your neighborhood. It's the same set of friends that you're going to see. Most of them would have gone through the same set of friends. If you got 30 people in the class, at least 10 of them would be living in the streets nearby or in your neighborhood. So when you go to a college, you're getting a different mix of people. Well, it's now overrated actually. We got colleges in every nook and corner. You're probably going to see the same extension of people that studied in class come to the come to the same college group too, like I did, because one of my classmates chose to come to NEC Mech, and I chose to go to NEC Mech. So that prevails today too. But the thing is that I dreamt about it. I dreamt about doing an aeronautical engineer, but then I found my destiny in different ways. My dream was to, hey, I need to get to United States no matter what. That was my dream, believe it or not. My reason for choosing aeronautical engineers, I can travel the world. I can work for companies that are outside India and I can travel the world. That was the one basic reason that I had. But then, as I progressed through my career, the graduation in mechanical engineering, I found out what my strengths are. I used the opportunity to learn stuff. I went back to the basics of doing coding and stuff like that. I ended up getting a job in Cognizant when I left college. Um, we didn't have any campus at that time. Campus was a long fetch uh, apple for us. There was no college campus at all. We had to go and knock doors. We have to go through off campus placement programs. We were lucky enough to have one and get an opportunity to work for a company like Cognizant. 16 years I was with them before I quit and joined M&T Bank. It's a local bank. It's a super regional bank based here in the Western New York area, closer to Canadian border. I'm actually closer to Niagara Falls. Um, and I still continue to use technology. During this technology course, it's been a different paradigm shift. Starting as a developer, being as a senior manager, and now to being an evangelist, tech evangelist to help the bank move and adopt cloud. I don't know anything about cloud 2 years ago. I know something about cloud, but those dreams of achieving something different, trying to set yourself a path off beaten, not having the herd mentality has always been there. I want to make a difference. I want to be a value added person in the community. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to experience different things. Those were the different dreams I had, and I worked my plan accordingly. It kind of fall into its own pieces. So you can ask the question, okay, it's all great stuff. You did what? How do we get about it, right? So the first basic thing that you need to do is create. You have a dream, great. Create a plan around the dream. Have a measurable goal. You're not going to be, let's say your dream is to, I want to pass out of college in flying colors. I want to get a job as soon as I pass out. Create a measurable goal. Here is your opportunity in first year. What would you like to do? Second year, what would you like to do? Third year, what you would like to do? Fourth year, final year, what would you like to do? A lot of times, you're not going to think way past ahead. This is not the age that gives you the maturity or the experience. Some of you guys will be mature enough to know what you want. Some of you guys don't. But work through, read a lot. A lot of these today, information technology or the growth of internet has put a lot of things in your palm. It wasn't the case before. We never had internet connectivity in our campus unless you go to one of the labs. None of us had, out of the 450 students in my batch, probably two of them had cell phone in the class. I mean, while they were in college, when we started in first year, maybe at the end of second year or so, 10 people had cell phone. Today, that's not the case. Every single person has a cell phone. You have the campuses got so much wired technology and access put in place. Do a lot of reading. There's a lot of information out there. I don't. When I say reading, it's not about Facebook Reels or TikTok videos. I mean, they are also informative, but it depends on what you call informative. But there's a lot of other things that you could learn. Um, Udacity, Coursera, Udemy. All these people have different information that you could actually scope for. Those are things that are going to help you create measurable goals and keep it consistency. Try to create a consistent pattern when you try to say, here's my dream, here's my goal, here's the plan. And if I want to deliver this plan, you need to create a consistency. How could I get consistency? When you cherish your hard work and put your discipline in, your consistency will automatically come to you. Plan that accordingly, that will help you. Make the best out of every single situation. The next thing is very, very important. When you fail on something, okay, I put my effort, I tried to do my first year max, but I didn't get through it. Why? Ask yourself a why. Don't feel dejected. Don't feel sorry for not having to clear. Something was bluntly wrong. Maybe you didn't put enough effort or you didn't ask for the help that you need. It's okay to ask for the help, but you should make the best out of every situation. I, as a person, is very, very optimistic. I am a very, very optimistic person. Even something goes wrong, I always try to look the positive side of it. I have a friend, some of my college mates had terrible incidents in their life. Those were all setbacks. But those setbacks are something that you have to look at in a positive way. I'll give you a story. So just before this call, we were talking about a friend, Dr. Neelakantan was telling about Java, a friend of mine. He's a batchmate, he's a classmate, he's a good friend, very good friend of mine. We are still in touch. Um, he is going to come back from Sri Lanka to India. I don't know how many of you know, Jabba was our best outgoing student in our whole batch. In the year 2002, he was called the best outgoing student. We call him the A.R. Rahman of our class at that time because he was very good in keyboard and he used to compose music for our programs. And then I think close to being at final year, he stopped playing keyboard or stopped playing cinematic songs on keyboard because he strongly believed he has to use it for his God, and he left it. But it doesn't set back anything for us. He was still a good friend of mine. He was our best outgoing student. He had no arrears. He cleared all his papers, everything. 2002 was a very tough year. It was a very, very tough year to find a job. So was 2001. After 9/11, 2000, after 9/11, and then the dot-com bubble meltdown, job market was scarce. Technology wasn't that great. Everybody had a hard time finding a job. So 2002 was challenging. A lot of us went to Chennai. A lot of us went to Bangalore. Some of us went to Bangalore looking for a job. I was fortunate enough to crack an interview and get a job in Bangalore. The moment I got a job in Bangalore, I started bringing my friends into Bangalore saying, okay, maybe we should come and try and find a job here. So in one such occasion, I brought Jabba with me to Bangalore to find a job. And while he was trying to find a job, he actually chased his passion to do service to God. And actually, he's joined a missionary. But at the same time, he was working for a fiber optic company or a telecom company doing marketing and sales. So he did get a job. But at the same time, he found his faith and he started working for the missionary. And he got his full time into missionary, quitting his job after a few years. So I brought him to Bangalore, and then I found a job in Chennai. I quit Bangalore and I moved to Chennai. And every single time when I go to Bangalore, Java will be there to pick me up in the station or drop me in the station when I return back to Chennai. And we used to still meet him. The whole point was that Java went into a missionary. And being the best outgoing student, a smart kid from our class, I felt very bad. His parents felt very bad that he chose to go to a missionary, not earning a life. That was a bad. I felt very guilty because if I had not brought him to Bangalore, maybe he would not have found his way to the missionary. He would have done something else. But trust me, he found his life there. He was happy there. He was very much happy. Today he is in Sri Lanka managing the ministry. He's actually based out of Colombo today, and he's coming back to Chennai to continue to work for, or coming back to Tamil Nadu, most likely to Tamil Nadu. Hopefully, he's still planning on, and he's going to continue to work for his missionary. And he's happy. He's got a family. He's got 2 kids, and he's enjoying his life. And he still is in contact with us. The 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 reason I'm saying is that I started looking from seeing that as a failure that I did because of me. He came to Bangalore and joined the missionary, and then he actually went to become one of the. He changed a lot of people's life in that process. So what did he do in missionary? He wasn't just playing songs in the missionary. He worked with a lot of families. He worked with a lot of kids who are going to school, a lot of kids who are going to college, helped them come over their life problems. He touched a lot of lives. He made a lot of lives happy. And that's the difference that he made. That's the best that came out of that situation. I still feel happy for him. And we're still in good touch with him. So the point I'm trying to make is it's not always about a flashy job or a flashy title. It's not always about it's not always to be materialistic. It's not about having a big house. It's not about having a big car or a vehicle or a bank balance or anything. It's about doing what you like the most, and that's what's going to make you make you good with your life and make your life successful. So take responsibility for your action. Jabba took responsibility for his actions. See, I'm not giving you stories that happened outside NEC. I'm giving you all references that happened inside NEC and those 4 years in the campus that we had. So look around yourself. Your friends' life, your neighbors' life is an example. One of the things that I tell to my tech teams is that, hey, and this is a lesson that I learned while I was in trainee. While I was a trainee, one of my trainee would used to tell me um, that if you write a code and a program was written, and if it ran fine for the first time, and you didn't find any errors in your program, that means you didn't learn anything. We were like surprised. How's that, sir? We actually wrote a good program, and that's why we didn't find any errors. So our program ran fine. So how would you call that we didn't learn anything and we did a bad job? His argument was only if you do a mistake, only if you find an error, then you would know what a tough situation would be and how to fix it. And that's when you learn something. Because if everything was a happy path, that's what a lot of us used to call here in project world. A happy path is where your intended results or the outcome of your actions happen. And if that happens, it's a happy path. If it doesn't happen, you have a frowning path or a sad path. But the best example that you can get from every successful person is that you can't always have an happy path. You need to have a sad path because those are the ones that are going to help you learn. The mistakes that you make are the ones that are going to help you learn the basics that you need to know. So, so my trainer at that time would say, if you ran a code and if that code didn't give you an error, then you didn't learn anything. Only when it gives you error, you learn something out of it. So it's okay to do mistakes, but it's not okay to repeat the same mistakes. I keep telling that to the team. Don't worry, you can make mistakes as long as it doesn't put your position in jeopardy or the organization that you work for is not put in jeopardy. You can do mistakes. You should learn from those mistakes, but please don't repeat the mistakes because then it becomes a costly affair that would cost a lot of things, not just your life, it could be many people's life. In a job like us, sometimes it's very crucial. We deal with a lot of data. I work for a bank. I've been working for financial institutions for the past 20 years. A lot of times our customer data are all important. Any mishap for the data can put the bank or the financial institution in jeopardy. Any exposure or a failure to um, comply to the regulatory rules will put put us into a lot of problems. So we tell our teams that do your testing as much as you can. Make sure you're fine, you're double fine, triple fine. How many other times you want to check, do it. But you take responsibility to do it and make sure if there is a mistake, learn from it and make sure you don't repeat those mistakes. That's what we keep telling to the teams. That's a very important things to chase your dreams too. You have to take responsibility for this and value your relationship in that process. You have to value the relationship that you make. This 4 years in college, you probably don't know what your friend is gonna do in 10 years. He could be a great CIO of a big company tomorrow, or he could be running his own business. He could be he could be he could be a Nobel winner, or he could be a next unicorn startup. You never know that. Relationships are important. There's no good or bad. It's up to you to make it happen. You remember the point. Make the best outcome of every situation. Every relationship comes with a meaning. You have to go with a pinch of salt in it. Don't ever give up. That's another thing that you need to keep in mind. In my batch during these days, I had friends who had arrears till the end of eighth, seventh semester. I know a guy who used to have every semester arrears. He carried it up. But you know what? When we came to the eighth semester, he cleared up all his arrears. I'm not talking one or two papers. He had about 12 papers or 14 papers. But he put the effort in his last and he never gave up. But again, that's a bad example. He shouldn't have given up in the first semester itself when he had his earlier papers. He shouldn't have done. But the point I'm trying to make is that you have to start believing in yourself now, not at the seventh semester. If that's something that you could do at the seventh semester, you can might as well do it in the first semester. That's the difference that you need to bring in. That's the reason for me bringing the story is that you're going to hear such things from a lot of our seniors. There have been toppers who went to do unusual things in life, and there is this the last bencher or the backbencher, the unqualified kid you want to call in the class has stood out to become an outstanding person in the community or outstanding person and is very very successful person in the organization. There is no such thing that just because I scored high mark I could be a high I would be a superstar tomorrow. I have seen people who had performed very mediocrely have done a very great job when they come to a job, very great. They have scaled up to their dreams and been able to do a wonderful job and earn themselves a name. But the reason is they all put in an effort. They all put in their hard work and brought in a discipline. Some of us started doing that in the first year. Some of us started doing that in the fourth year. My advice to you guys is don't wait for the fourth, seventh semester, or eighth semester to do such things. Use the opportunity to do it. So value your relationship with your people, with your staff, with your family, with your neighbors. It could be as minimalistic as possible. Set your expectations appropriately. Sometimes a lot of things that I found myself experience in my life is that when you set the wrong expectation or you set over expectation with something, and when that something doesn't happen, that's when you get dejected and you feel sorrow for it, and then you feel betrayed, and that is nothing but worrying. Remember, worrying is nothing but a bully. It doesn't help you. It always takes something from you. It doesn't give you anything at all. So stop worrying about it. Set your expectations appropriately. Value the relationship. Make that unusual sacrifice, right? It's okay to sacrifice something. A lot of people did unusual sacrifice. I'm going to go a little off out of the alumni NEC campus and say Nelson Mandela wasn't just a person who who went to jail for 20 years and then came back to become the president of South Africa. No, he actually made sacrifices. He didn't leave his belief out. He continued to believe in his thoughts, and he made the sacrifice of saying, "I don't want to. I don't want to go and make others feel happy for what I believe in. If they don't believe in what I do, I don't have to go cajole those people to believe in mine." He made that sacrifice. He made the sacrifice to stay in prison. Inside the prison, he fought his war. So did Mahatma Gandhi ji too. He made his sacrifices. He made his calls. And those are things that you're going to have successful things come back. They dreamt about doing what they want to do. And that led to their choices being made and lead to make their dream come true. Never ever give up. That's the other story. These people never ever gave up. They continue to fight the battle. A lot of you must have today would like to go to KFC. Did you know that KFC, the founder didn't find it until he was like 70, 60 plus years old? He never gave up. So did Edison. Edison didn't find the light bulb at this first experiment. It took 1,000 experiments, failed experiments for him before he came up, landed on the light bulb. So never ever give up and take risks. It's okay to take risks as long as the risk is as far as the risk is to you, not to others, right? You can't put other people at danger or risk for your goods and beliefs. You should at some point of time, but take the risk that you need and cherish the hard work and the discipline that you could bring to your career and goal. And always try to create a value of what you're doing. Like I said, I always wanted to stay off the I want to stay on the off-beaten path. I want to create a path for myself. And I did to by and large extent. But I always thought that whatever I do should create a value, be it at my work, at my office. If I'm going to be part of my cloud business office, I want to create a value out of it. People should say, okay, Kali did something here and the bank benefited out of it. And here is the value. And that it could be any value. I said like $1,000 a month that the bank would have expended anyways, or I saved 5 people from waiting 2 weeks to get a job done. Now they're getting it done in 10 minutes. That's a save. Um, so I'm just talking about my job, but I'm saying in your time as the first year kids, you could start creating value. We used to do a lot of things in college while we were in first year. A lot of things that we did at that time were not something as a norm that we would do for a first year. We challenged every status quo in first year, and Neelan and Sir can keep me honest here. A bunch of us went and said we wanted to present in our technical symposium. Never in the history of NEC was there that a first year student went and presented in national level symposium. Or we believed in ourselves. We did not give up. In fact, the first meeting that we had we went to Neelan and Sir to propose this idea. We said, sir, we have this symposium coming up, and then we wanted to present. And he first looked at us and said, maybe he thought that we were joking. I don't know what you had running on that time, sir, but I think that's what I think. He, here is the catch. He never, I'm not saying he didn't believe us. I think he strongly believed us, but he didn't show that at that time. And there was a lot of question why and how could you do it? We had a plan. We said we would do it, and we had the skill set that we thought we would do it. So he gave us these. I think eventually he said, "Okay, let's go to the principal and let's. If the principal allows us to do it, then so if the principal allowed us to go for the symposium, then we can." That's what he said. So Dr. Shakalingam was a principal, so we went and met a principal. It was very unusual for first years to go and ask a principal to give us for a symposium, but Neelan Sir was with us at that time, and he supported us. And the principal was actually denied, saying, "No, you guys are first year, you can't go." And we said, I mean, it was 3 of us who said, no, actually 2 of us. We said we wanted to do the symposium, and we're sure we're going to bag college a great name. And the principal was still questioning our credibility because we just joined college. It was probably 4 months into the college times that we were ready to go and do a symposium. Um, he said it's doubtful, and he sent us back. He didn't approve us. We didn't leave it. We never gave up. See, I'm going to bring all these keywords that I just said during my conversation to tell you how it worked. Our dream was to go and prove ourselves that we had something to do, and we wanted to go to the symposium. We wanted to win the prize. We didn't know what the prize was, but we wanted to go. And we were the first year students who went and asked a staff saying, "Hey, we want to go present our paper." And the next thing we knew was we were in front of a principal trying to convince him to send us. He said, "No." We did not give up. We went back to Neelan and Sir. We said, "Sir, we made our paper. We created our paper. We said we actually worked one weekend in Madurai. Me and my friend who was presenting with me. His name is Vikrant, by the way. Vikrant is a fellow classmate of mine. Today he works for Walmart. He's a senior vice president there. Um, so Vikrant and I spent some times at home, at his Madurai home, and we put together our paper work. And he had an internet connection at home at that time, so we were able to get our references and everything we put together. And then we showed the paper, and then eventually the principal approved us, and we went to an college in Andhra. This is not a college in Shivagasi, or was not a college in Madurai or Chennai. The first paper presentation that we did was outside Tamil Nadu. We went to NBK Institute of Science and Technology in Nellore. This happened in 1999. Um, Actually, 1998 or 99, I think. 98. End of 1998. It was just before New Year. It was during the Christmas time. So that was the first paper. We went there, and it was a national symposium, and our paper got presented. We faced our audience, and our jury gave us third place. And that was the first time in that college that they had a first year. Maybe they were giving us a grace. I don't know, just because we were first years and everybody was a second year or a third year. We didn't care who the presenters were, who our competitors were. We said we know our stuff. We were strong enough, and we said we will be doing our paper presentation. We know our stuff, and we can present it better, and we can beat these guys. That was all that was running in our head at that time, and we won. We came back to the college, and after that, we did 3 or 4 presentations in our first years after that first incident. And every single time we went to principal to get signature, he didn't question us. Not even a single question asked. He would just sign the paper and said, "Good luck." And we went and presented. And during my college days, we did about 23 technical symposiums at that time. And because we dreamt about it and we were able to chase our dreams. And that's because we had the guts, um, we took the risks. Of course, the college also took a risk with us, letting us to go out and not tarnish the college name, because the principal was worried about it. They didn't want us to go to a national symposium and make a joke out of it. They sent the first year and they flaunted it. That's exactly what the risk that they were going to take. And we never gave up. When the permission was denied, we said we're going to try again. And Sir was there with us, supporting us, and we got it. So 23 symposiums that we did, and we won the first, second, or third. Um, then we did a lot of other competitions. Um, we made a lot of history in the college when we were there. We were so happy about it. And all of those things are good experiences that you won't get. Mind you, you're spending the money here in this campus to study the course. Nobody's paying you anything to do this, but there's a lot of opportunity that you can use, and make use of this time that you are in the college. Your staffs are well experienced, they are seasoned, they know what they are doing. Some of you might think, what is the staff teaching us? No, they know stuff that you don't know. You got to use your staff properly. Remember, he or she is catering to 60 different students. Not all the 60 are of the same mentality. They're not of the same tempo. The grasping power is different. It's a very hard job as a teacher to go and teach 60 kids and expect everybody to come up at the same level. But it is you who can make a difference. It is you who can um, make that work for yourself. So think about it, and dream hard, dream high, and work towards that dream. Dreams don't come to you. If you are able to dream it, you should be able to work a plan to make it a success too. So I am a living testimonial of that. I owe my gratitudeness to Mangai Manawalan sir. Like I said, he's my godfather. I still call him the godfather. So he believed in it, and I truly believed in it too, and that helped me get what I'm doing here and what I have in my life today. So it's about uh, 50 minutes that I went through my lecture. Nobody interrupted me. I'm open to have any questions that you can ask. It's just a little over midnight here in New York, in the state of New York. It's 12:20 in the morning for me. Um, I mean, midnight actually. Um, but I'd be more than happy to take any questions. Sir?
Manimar, one of our faculty asked me, sir, the time is 10, so it may be near midnight at New York.
It's okay, sir. Anytime for the college. Anybody, any questions? Please feel free to ask.
So
Anything
students
you
can,
may ask.
the students can ask questions now.
Nobody has any question? Or did I put everybody to sleep? Come on,
Usually,
guys. Sir, chalo.
No, sir.
So you can
Good
ask
morning, sir.
Yes, Dhanush. Good
I
morning.
am Dhanush from first year mechanical department, sir.
Sure.
How do you do, sir?
I am doing fabulous. Hope the same
Um,
with you.
okay, sir. Wonderful speech you have been presented today. It's really good, sir. You have completed all the corners for a student to develop his attitude, knowledge, many things. And I am a mechanical student, joined in the first year. I have to develop many more courses or a communication skill. In this process, I am facing fear and how I stay motivated and believe in yourself and come across my failure. Like you are an optimistic person. And please tell how you come across your failures.
So look failure as a stepping stone, right? It's all you have an opportunity to learn from those mistakes. Failures do happen. Nobody is uh, bound of not having failures. There's a lot of things that I cannot tell in this forum that has happened in the college. There have been failures that I cannot just say here. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense now. But it was all opportunity for you to learn from it. So you said it's a fear, right? A lot of us have fear because we feel pressurized from what is around us. We may think that if I do this and if I get failed, what would my parents think? What would my friends will think about me? What would my staff would think about me? How would I be perceived? See, perception is something that can be easily built by anybody, for anything. But there is your opportunity to prove that perception is wrong if you only believe in what you're doing. You are going to make mistakes. Your fear is your biggest enemy. Okay. You need to overcome that fear. How do you overcome that fear? Build the confidence in yourself. Understand your capability to do it. So when you say, I am able to do this, then you should be 100% confident. And how do you make it confident is making dedicating the time to plan for that, dedicating the time to create the discipline to work for that plan, dedicating the time to put your hard work. Those are the things that are going to have. Fears can easily be beaten up if you have confidence and if you build your plan around it. And secondly, live your life. Okay. It's your life. It's not anybody else's life. It's not the society that's going to feed you tomorrow. It's your hand that's going to feed you tomorrow. It's not the society. It's not your neighbors. It's not the people that you don't know at all. If they're going to think wrong, then they're going to be wrong. The loss is theirs, not yours. You got to start believing in you and work with that to make yourself successful. And every failure is a stepping stone. Like I said, make the best out of it, learn from your mistakes, and always believe one thing that I also believed, apart from the dream, those who dream know their way to success. The other thing that I always believe in is that everything happens in a life for a reason. There is this Bhagavad Gita saying, right? Every karma gets answered and everything happens for a reason. எது நடந்ததோ அது நன்றாகவே நடந்தது, எது நடக்க போகிறதோ அது நன்றாகவே நடக்க போகுது, எது நடக்கின்றதோ அதுவும் நன்றாக நடந்தது. So everything happens for a reason. Sometimes you get this wisdom to know the reason, sometimes you don't. That's okay. If you don't, that's okay. But it will come to you one day. I'm a very, very strong believer of that. If something didn't work out the way I wanted it, I want to take the lesson learned from this, move on, and put my effort to it. So, for example, I can give you an example here. Um, Apart from being working for the bank in the daytime, one of my passion is I love food. I love cooking. I like to eat food. There have been times after coming to United States, there was not many Indian restaurants. It was very hard to find Indian restaurants, very good Indian restaurants that serve the food that you want. So while I used to live in Boston, just to eat Chettinad food, I would drive up to New Jersey, which is a 4.5 hour drive, which is about 4 to 300 miles. So it's more like coming from Trichy to eat food in Kanyakumari, right? So that's how crazy I was. Just to eat a biryani, I would travel from Boston to New Jersey because New Jersey had the only Chettinad restaurant. Anjapur had a branch in New Jersey, and that's where you get good biryani. So it's like the biryani movie, right? So I used to do the crazy thing. Um, but that was my passion about it's not about just the good food. Good food, you need to cherish it. If you know how to cook, then you would enjoy it. Um, so I ended up opening a restaurant. I run a restaurant here in Western New York, in Buffalo, New York, a Chettinad style restaurant. And we learned a lot. A lot of mistakes were done. There has been situations where I would have thought myself saying, why did I even start a restaurant? I should have closed it. I don't spend enough time with my family. I have a day job. Then I have to run a restaurant. Restaurant has so many problems. We depend on our employees. And sometimes an employee wouldn't show up for work. A dishwasher wouldn't show up for work. There have been situations where I would say, okay, I'll fold up the sleeves and say, I'm going to wash dishes. I don't mind picking up plates in my restaurant. I don't mind taking the food to the table. I could be the owner, but I should be willing to work at any level that the job needs to get done to chase my passion. So I dreamt about running a restaurant, and here is my dream come true. It's been 2.5 years now, touch wood. We're still having the restaurant open, and we always get an inquiry asking, why don't you open a restaurant in Dallas? Why don't you open a restaurant in New Jersey? Why don't you open a restaurant in Atlanta? Can't you run a branch there? It's very easy to say it on a branch, but it's not that easy that it seems. Um, but every single time we learned something as a failure. It helped us to learn how to handle the situation when it happened the next time. We were not panicking. So, for example, the first time I had a chef leave, it was the chef that we were relying on for all our food. He is the master chef. He knows how to make. He's one of the best. He makes one of the best biryani that I've ever had. But losing the guy means my business can shut down tomorrow. That is how much dependency we had with them. And we panicked at that time. It's two of us, me and my partner. We panicked. But then we took a step back and said, okay, whatever be it is, let's face it. It's happening for a reason, and we have to deal with the situation. So let's deal with the situation. He left. We found a replacement. We managed. We had some setbacks, but we were able to talk to our customers and explain the situation, and they were fine. But we didn't compromise on our food quality. We didn't compromise on our food preparation technique. We just made the new guy to learn it, and 3 weeks down the line, we were back in business. And after that chef left, we never panicked. When the second time our main chef left, we were able to find a replacement. We were confident enough because we put a plan together. We were able to measure our goals. We were able to handle our risks. We took a risk. We knew how that risk could be handled. It was easy. That is how we should look at it. Dhanush, I don't know if I answered your question, but the way to do is
Yes,
beat your
sir. Yes,
fear is. Thank you. Anybody else? Any question?
thank you, sir. It's a wonderful answer you have been given to me. It's made me happy.
I'm glad. Thank you.
Hello,
Anybody
sir.
else? Any question? Yes, go ahead.
I'm Gugan from Mechanical Department, sir.
Okay.
How is your day, sir?
My day has been long, so I hope to hit the bed soon after this call. But thank you for asking. Hope the same with you.
Yes, sir. I have two questions, sir.
Sure.
One is the degree is necessary for achieve the goal in our life. And second question, when you are passing your goal, you start losing some friends and the family members and relatives, the beloved person you love. At the situation, the person who can take a care of him, shall you tell about that person?
Good question, actually. Thank you for asking that, Gugan. So let me try answer your first question. degree is a measurable quantity, right? It's just the identity that you're going to get. Now, does that mean, okay, so let's say Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg never completed his college, but he runs a big conglomerate today. He never finished his college. Steve Jobs never finished his degree. He found Apple and he ran it. Bill Gates never finished his degree in Stanford or Harvard. But he found Microsoft and he ran it. Does that mean everybody can drop out of college and go do things? No. It's the degree is something that's going to get you to bridge the gaps, right? There are going to be extraordinary people who do stuff in their life and got successful. I'm not saying Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs were lucky or got lucky and did that. They believed in what they do and they had their dreams chased in the way they wanted. To them, degree did not matter. They had their dreams, they had their plans, they had their execution in mind, and they were able to get successful in what they were doing because they had the discipline, they had the hard work to do it. They created value out of their process. But degree was something that they didn't cherish. If you go and look at Fortune 500 companies, a lot of the CIOs and a lot of the CEOs, a lot of the CTOs, you would see that they all have good degrees or good backgrounds, good experience. For example, Satya Nadella is not running Microsoft because he didn't have a degree. Vishal Banga for Visa didn't do. He's an IIT IIM guy, if I remember right. And then he did his master's somewhere here in the US. Those are the experience that you get. Um, Let me give you another example. So this guy Vikram that I was mentioning, in who was my paper partner, who was my classmate. Actually, he did his BEMS as well, and then he went and did his MBA in MIT Sloan. In fact, he was asking me to join him to do his MBA course. He was persuading, and I was this close to joining MIT Sloan to do my MBA, but then I had other priorities in life, and I had to let go. I still regret not making the decision to go to MIT to do my master's in MBA. That had a changing effect in his life. It's about experience. Look at look at these degrees and all these things as an experience that you don't have today. Getting your BE mechanical engineering is not a title or not just a qualification. It is the process where you learn and implement it and do a lot of stuff. So not just because I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm saying this. A lot of the Fortune 500 companies, the top 500 companies, you see top executives, they're all probably a mechanical engineer in some form or fashion. And I'm not making this up. You can go to Wikipedia and look at people who are in high executive positions. You'll see that they all have mechanical engineering or some form of mechanical engineering, software engineering in their background, at least from a technology point of view, right? So think of this degree as more of an opportunity to bridge the gap that you have. So completing it is important because you spent the money. It's not your money, it's your parents' money. They have an expectation. So getting them to fulfill that expectation is important. But use this as an opportunity to bridge the understandings that you don't have today. So learn your basics. Use this course time to understand the basics. Make it strong. You're not going to fly an aeroplane not knowing what your thermodynamics is teaching you, not knowing your flow dynamics. If you don't understand any of those things, it doesn't matter whether you fly the plane or not tomorrow. And believe it or not, the mechanical design, the design architecture, let's say in ECE, we are talking about digital signal processing. Those all will come into play in your real life. When you get to the maturity, when you start working for big organizations or maybe running your own organization, you will find that these learnings will come into play at that time. Those are the basic structure that you have to be. Our power line transmission will teach a lot, and for AAA, when you come to put it in real life, start correlating what you're learning to your real life. You will find that that course is very exciting and made sense. And to your second question, when you're trying to chase the dream, you're probably going to lose a lot of people on the sidelines. Right? It could be a friend, it could be a family. Um, so, for example, in my life, when I started chasing my passion to start a restaurant, my wife was totally against it. In fact, she gave me the money to start it. Let's put that way. For the record, she gave me the money to start the restaurant, but however, she has no interest in me running the restaurant. because I'm not at home. I am probably, my day job keeps me busy, and when evening strikes, I go to the restaurant and I don't get to see my family. So there has been some balancing act that we have to do. It is more of setting the expectations and trying to choose what you would like to do and what you don't like to do. So another thing that happened in my life is that me being here in the stateside for the last 16 years or so, when my father got sick, I couldn't be with him during his last few days or last few years. He passed away graciously in 2018, just before the pandemic hit. And I'm grateful for that too. If there was anything that happened in 2019 or 2020, I would not have, um, um, I would have felt very bad about myself. I would not have pardoned myself of that guilty, if something would have happened in 19 or 20. So for some reason, he passing away in 2018, I took the best outcome of that situation. But the problem is that I continued to stay here, 8,500 miles away from my father, and I couldn't be with him when he was in his last stage. But at least I was able to see him before he passed away. I flew down and I was able to be with him at the last minute before he closed his eyes. But what the way I looked at is he worked hard. My parents were not graduates. They weren't. I was the first college graduate in my family. My mom was just a high school pass, or not even high school. I think she did the 10th grade. My dad was an ITI diploma holder, and they dreamt of me doing good in academics. They dreamt of me achieving successful, being in a career. They dreamt of me traveling out of the country. They were supportive of me. They worked their ass off to get me what I'm doing. And I was at a point of thinking, should I just drop everything and go be with them? Then I was thinking, what would happen to all the good efforts that my father did? I am here because of what my mom did. She used to sit with me and study when I used to study. She encouraged me to join quiz clubs and start hosting to quiz competitions. She encouraged me to participate in competitions and beat it also. So though she wasn't in a high school, though she didn't even finish her 10th grade, she was there every single time during my middle school, elementary, that she guided me through those things. Those had an effect. Then I thought through those things, saying, should I put an effort? So I asked my mom, should I just drop everything and come? Then she said, no, all these good effort was put to make you work. We can handle things here. So don't worry. There was a situation where my mom called me and said, no, I need you here. And I said, I dropped things and I went to see her. I was there with her for a month just to make sure she feels comfortable, and then I travel back here. So you're going to see such situations come through in your life, but make the best out of those things. Use this as an opportunity to learn, set the expectations appropriately. You're not going to get dejected out of it. You shouldn't feel rejected. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in the fact that this is all happening for a reason. Everybody has an expiry date. It's like the product that you buy in a store, right? Everything comes with an expiry date these days. So are lives too. But make the best use of them when you still have it. You should cherish your values. You have to value your relationship. Doesn't mean that you could throw everything out through the window one fine day. No, you can't do that. Um, make Set your expectations up accordingly. You're going to lose people, but just take the best use of it. People who believe in you, who will trust in you, will never lose. They will continue to come with you. Did I answer your question, Gohan?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your questions. It's very useful.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you for asking. So I'll answer the second one because it's a quick one. It's called Nelly banana leaf. And I have a reason for giving Nelly. I didn't want to lose my Nelly identity to anything. So we call it Nelly banana leaf. We wanted a name that's easy for the Americans to pronounce as well. We didn't want to call ourselves Anjapar or Arasapar or any Chettinad name that these people will never have a name to remember. So we chose the name banana leaf, and then we added Nelly in front of it. So it's called Nelle Banana Leaf. You can check us on our Facebook page, NBL Buffalo, or in our website, nellebananaleaf.com. So going back to the first question, can you repeat that question for me, sir? Once again. I want to care the easy students question. Sure. All right. So define what's a good company, right? When Flipkart got started, nobody knew about Flipkart. Okay. Today, Flipkart has become an iconic name with everybody. So was when Swiggy started or what's your Zomato started. Nobody knew what Zomato was. Would you go and work for a company like Cognizant, Infosys, or go and work for not even a company that you know of? So think of this. Over time, what you call as a good company changes. For my parents, working for government was the great thing. Anybody in those days, they would say, if you work for the government company, it's a great, if you work for a government corporation, that means you are working for a good company. Who would go and work for a company that is local, right? So let's say in Tirunelveli, you wanted to work, you're probably working for a bank like SBI. Nobody wants to go and work for Shriram Chit Funds or Shakti Finance. So good company or a bad company, but today Shriram Chit Funds is all over India. So is Shakti Finance. Shakti Finance has brokerage and everything. They are not a chit company anymore. Um, so that actually changes with time, right? While I was passing out of college, um, companies like Cognizant Technology Solutions, Infosys, TCS were prime. They're considered good companies. Nobody would go and work for a startup. Today, if you ask anybody, they'll be more than happy to go and work for a startup that nobody has heard about. So my point is, you can be part of a big company and be nobody, or you can be part of a smaller company and be somebody. You create a value out of it. It is all up to your perspectiveness of what you think is a good company or bad company. Nobody knew that Zoho would be a great company when they started. While I was in Chennai, nobody heard Zoho. I never heard Zoho. But these guys are, um, and I did see a question come in chat, but I'll answer that in a minute. But today Zoho is coming into our college and making placement offers, and they are making it on par with any company. So my thing is here is that, guys, career is long enough. Okay, when you start, nobody cared what. I'll give you an example. I have a class friend who actually, a schoolmate who actually started. He studied from Government Engineering College, Tirunelveli. So getting a DOT 1 college and a DOT 2 college itself was a challenge. So he went into DOT 1, and I'm in a DOT 2 college. But when he finished his course, he was an electrical engineer, by the way. When he finished his course, he didn't find a job. Like I said, 2001, 2002, it was very hard to find a job after the 2K .com bust. Every company was going dip. Nobody was recruiting. He came to Chennai. He didn't find a job. He was working in a lathe in Thiruvanmiyur, in the outskirts of Thiruvanmiyur. He was working for a small industry that was making some engine covers or a motor winding thing. For 1,000 rupees a month, that was his job. Today, he's a successful manager in Central. He was in that job for probably 6 months. He never gave up. He continued to find jobs. He was trying to chase his finding a good company. He then started working for American Express and out a third-party vendor for American Express doing call center jobs. 3 months down later, he was working for technical support for a company called CSS, which now I think is called some testing company. I don't remember what it is. But slowly he progressed, and then he finally ended up going to Central, and he's been with Central for the last decade or so. And he's very successful. Today he has 2 houses in Chennai. He has a car. He has a family. He comes to Tirunelveli to see his parents. He's doing well, fine. He came to US a couple of times for his job, and we met in the States here a couple of times. So look at where he started. He started at a lathe company. He started a lathe or a small industry company that nobody knew. It was in one small street outside Thiruvanmiyur. It was in Kovalam somewhere. Nobody. He used to bicycle to that office. Today he drives his car to his office. So that transformation has happened because he believed in himself. He believed in his hard work. So if you're thinking, okay, I need to go and work for X, Y, and Z company, you have to do your homework. You need to understand what is that they do and what is that you can do to be part of it. That's how you can get into it. Chase your dreams, you'll get there. And there was somebody who asked about, can we settle in abroad if without doing an MS? Okay, you saw my MS title. My MS is not from an US college. I did my master's from BITS Pilani in India. I did that while I was working for Cognizant because we had a tie-up program. Um, my MS was in software engineering because I was working for a tech company and they offered this program. It was lucrative for us to working here in the US. I was still able to do the course in India. And there are a lot of people like me who don't even have an MS degree who have settled here in the US. All they had is a dream and they came here, chased their dream, and they've been successful. There was another question that came up in chat. Could you suggest any tips regarding Triply? I don't know. What do you mean by any tips, Ramesh Kannan? Are you saying tips to get to what? And I'm not a Triply guy. In this last 15 years or so, no matter what your engineering courses, everybody ends up working in an IT company, some form of fashion. So it doesn't matter if your goal is to get into IT. It doesn't matter what your engineering goes. All you have to do is build your analytical skills, do your maths properly, build your ability to solve problems. That's what companies look for. What is your personal opinion about LinkedIn? Great platform to keep connected. Use it properly. It's not another social media network. It's not like your Facebook, TikTok, or anything. It LinkedIn is about true connectivity to people who are part of different organizations. And I found a lot of people get jobs through LinkedIn because they have connectivity. One of the things that I find challenging is that unless otherwise you know someone in a corporation that you want to work for, trying to find and apply for a job in that corporation could be challenging. And LinkedIn in that space helps you to make that connection. Annapurnima, thank you so much. The presentation was practical and straightforward. How did you feel when you first entered society and started looking for work? Good question. So when I finished the course, April 14th is, I think April first week is when we did our final Viva voice for our paper, for our project. And after that, all our exams were done. I had my IIT JEE exam. No, actually, I didn't have my IIT JEE. I was applying for my TNPC civil service exam. It was in May. It was a Madurai center. I finished. I had no idea what I was going to do. All I had was I have to go find a job. And I wanted to do GRE at that time because my intention was to go to US. So I thought, let me do GRE and get an MS assignment. But I still didn't want to go back and ask my father to pay my college fee. So I had two thoughts in my head at that time. I took a train and went to Bangalore. I started looking for a job. 2 weeks. I spent time on the road. Stalin, I'll get back to you in a minute. 2 weeks, I went from company to company, knocking doors. I spoke with my seniors who were there, who I knew were working for some other companies. So while I was in the final year in the college, there used to be a professor called Raja Singh sir, who actually founded NEC Placement Cell at that time. He was the first NEC Placement Cell head to start that process. Raja Singh sir and I went all around in Bangalore and Chennai, met a lot of our college seniors who were working for big corporations and gave our college brochure and requested to see if they would come to the college to do placements. So that experience helped me. So I made best use of the opportunity at that time. And I went back to those, knocked the doors for those seniors. And I didn't feel anxious. I didn't feel dejected. 2 interviews will get through, but the job wouldn't suit me or the pay wouldn't work. So I rejected. Some I won't even get through. So I found a job. 2 weeks of searching, 10 days of searching, actually. It's not even 2 weeks. 10 days of searching into the job. June 7th, I got my first placement offer and I started working for a Bangalore company that was doing technical support for Symantec products. That was didn't stop there. Actually, I wanted to do something bigger. And then I started appearing for off-campus recruitments. Like Cognizant was running off-campus test. Infosys had an off-campus test. I don't think TCS had any at that time. I wrote Infosys. I didn't clear. Next week, I wrote Cognizant, I cleared, and I got a job in Cognizant end of that year. I was one of the first person to work for Cognizant from our batch. I was very proud. So handling society is up to you, your mindset, Annapurnima. So I would say don't give up. Keep working, take the risks that you want, and things will fall into notes on its own place. What do you think about fortune and misfortune in your life? I don't know. I always misfortune. Fortunate enough that I had the opportunity to learn from some good teachers, Mange Manawalan sir, Neelandan sir, some of our mechanical staff members. They are not there in the unit. There used to be Somesh sir in mechanical department. He's now in GC Tirunelveli. People like those have been real guiding star for us. We made use of their help and support at that time. Misfortune, sometimes you trust people, you expect something out of it, and that doesn't meet your expectation. You feel rejected and dejected. Those are lessons learned. But again, I don't know. I don't really look at anything that happened in my life as a misfortune. Some bad lessons, some bad apples in the life, we just throw it away and move forward. When you're talking about dreaming big and work towards it, how are you again saying go with the flow? Sometimes you have to go with the flow, but I can't explain that, or I be saying the certain way. This is how we should go with the flow. It's Now I'm going to sound a little philosophical, right? The whole world is running around you, and it's not stopping. The energy is flowing from one place to another. All those energy will take you into the flow. Sometimes you think, why did I think this way? Why did I do this? Why did I not make this decision, this or that? Just go with the flow. Um, you will get to your destiny. Always believe in that everything is happening for a reason. You may not understand the reason, you may not know the reason now, but it will strike you at some point of time. That's when I would say go with the flow. Apart from studies, what are the extra activities that you need to do in the first year, sir? That's up to you, Danusha. I did a lot of things except studying at that time. Sorry, I had to say that out loud, sir. I was the worst example to say go and study in the class. After first year, maybe second year or third year, we never attended classes in even during the even semesters. Most of the time we were preparing for technical symposiums and presenting papers. 23 symposiums, guys. How do you think we made it without attending classes? Bad example. It's a joke. You shouldn't skip classes. Don't skip classes. That's not my advice. Do a lot of learning, reading, be it novel, be it Wikipedia, be it Google. Like I said, today there is a lot of materials that are made available to you guys. Magazines. When I say magazines, not your Ananda Vigadan, Kumudam, or Nakiran. I'm talking about your science journals. See, it may not sound things. A lot of us have a good reading habit. You can read Frederick Forsyth's novel or John Grisham's novel and still be fine. Michael Crichton's novel, then watch a movie. Great. Movies are great learning experience, but choose the right movie to watch. Spend quality time with your friends, spend quality time with family. Things like that will help. In the first year, focus on the basics. If you're learning physics, if you're learning thermodynamics, if you're learning engineering drawing, get the basics correct. Don't worry about, I have to go to a tuition to do it. I don't have to go and do extra classes to do it. All of these are a learning experience. You're not here to chase your marks. Chase your basic knowledge. Chase your understanding of that basic knowledge. That would really help, Dhanusha. I am from Tripoli Department, Praveen Raj. I would like to join in a car company. Is there any opportunity, sir? Automobile industries have transformed a lot. It is not anymore a mechanical job or anything. Today, you see electric cars have becoming a norm soon. 10 years ago, that wasn't the plan. And you think electric car runs because everybody knows mechanical? No, it runs in I drive an electric car today. One of my cars is an electric car. I drive a Tesla. And Tesla is nothing but 4 wheels around a computer. It has got a lot of electronics, and technology in it. A lot of Python coding, a lot of scripting has gone into its place, a lot of sensor, Your DSP, ECE students would know digital signal processing comes into play there. Your artificial intelligence comes into play there. Electronics has a lot of things to do. Electrical has a lot of things to do. The components, every minute component has a play to. So dream big, Praveen. Car companies are not too far away for AAA. It doesn't matter. If you choose your electives properly, you can work towards it. Battery technologies are growing, and it's going to be the market for the next decade or so. So, and just now, look at it. I was just reading an article today. Rivian is another electric company that's coming up. It is valued more than what General Motors have accomplished in about last 100 years or so. Think about a company that doesn't even have a product in the market yet, but it is valued more than a company that has been in the market for so many decades. That's how technology can transform and play. So opportunity is unlimited. It doesn't have to be a car company. It could be anything. There's going to be a navigation company. There's electronics company. Anything can that be a part of the car can work. Sendal Murugan, Professor Mathematics. Sorry, sir. How to overcome the fear when we starting a plan opportunity? Oh, Jayashree. Okay, that was a question for Jayashree. Again, guys, fear is only when you think it is a fear, it is a fear. When does fear come into play, right? Only when you believe that, oh, if I fail this, something is going to happen, and that something is not going to gel with me. What is people going to think about it? What is the perception that I'm going to build? That is the fear. First of all, forget about what people think. Do you believe in what you're doing? And if your gut says go do it, and your equity, your knowledgeable equity that you have, your intelligence says you go do it, then just deal with it, and your fear will automatically go out. Believe in what you're doing. Have a solid plan, a strong belief, and a measurable goal, and fear. Plan. If you have an opportunity, work around that opportunity. Make sure that you know enough things to make it work for you. That would help. Anu Sandhya, can you please tell us what were the things we should do in the first year to module ourselves for the next 3 years? Learn the basics, guys. I'm going to keep repeating it. This is your opportunity. First year is where you learn your basics. Use the time, use the knowledge, use the resources that you have, and enjoy life, guys. It's not about reading books. You're in the class for 40 hours or 48 hours, and after that, chill. But it doesn't mean that you have to forget everything else and go do something stupid. Enjoy your life. These are the years that you're never going to get back. Learn the basics. That's the key thing that I would say. It's not about how many courses you do, how many classes that you attend. It's about what are you learning out of those courses and what are you learning out of those classes. That's more important. Like I said, everything has a meaning when you apply to your practical life. My advice would be is that whatever you're learning, try to apply to your practical life, and that will help you to learn it better. Sir. Parvala, sir. I mean, there's a whole bunch of questions that are still there that I've not answered. I will finish this maybe on the last yaar ketirukanga. Avantika nu ottanga ketirukanga. I will stop there. I will go through this quickly and I'll stop there.
More questions are there, I'll send the questions to you.
Yes, perfect. Okay. Now, whatever questions that I have in chat, I will stop at Avantika's question, and after that, they can feel free to email me or message me, and I'll try to help as much as I can. Okay. So there is this Muthukumar, and I'm so glad to meet you. What do you do in your job there? Can you just explain? Is there any difficulties you face there? Difficulties are going to be there every day. So in my day job, I work for this bank. This bank has been there for 158 years, and we have all sorts of technology. A lot of the technology sits in our on-premise data centers. We are trying to migrate those applications to cloud. So we have about 1,200 applications in the bank today, and my job is to work with those applications that are interested or willing to move to cloud. So I work with them and try to determine what cloud solution that they should have, what are the components, and I make that work for them. That means change. We are going to take somebody's job that they may have today and give it to somebody else. So those are the difficulties that we come. Sometimes it's dirty politics that we have to play between departments. There's always challenges, but those things are something that you have to deal with. Good morning, sir. Which is comfortable for you, India or US? I feel I like what I have here in the US. Not that I don't like what I was in India, but it just I feel more comfortable here because I have a lot more things that I could do that I wanted to do. So that's where it is. But India has changed a lot too in the last 20 years. It's not the same as what we have before. We have much better infrastructure too coming up. So it doesn't matter anymore. But I've established something here, so I'm more stuck here. If you have a chance to become an aeronautical engineering, what will you be now? Good question. I would have probably working for either Boeing or Airbus, most likely to Boeing, I think, or to. I still wonder. Gulfstream. That's another company that's here based out of Savannah, Georgia. Very recently, we were in a family vacation in South Carolina, and we landed in Gulfstream's airport. Gulfstream is another company that does private airlines. I always wished maybe if I did aeronautical engineering, probably I'd be working for one of these companies here. So that's still there. இது வந்து எப்படின்னா in the I mean the first crush ன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க இல்லையா அதே மாதிரி தான். This just keeps running. My aeronautical engineering is not too away from me. I am from CSC department, Guru Varshini. Good morning, sir. I hope the morning over there. It's not. It's actually midnight. It's about 1 a.m. in the morning here. Which is the most difficult career options you have made that brought you here? I decided to quit Cognizant after 16 years. That's one of the difficult decisions that I made. People thought that I'll spend my entire life working for one company. There were some people who were surprised when I said I'm quitting Cognizant. There were people who were happy that they said I left Cognizant. There was a career choice because I was growing. I was being a developer. I used to be a programmer analyst, and then I become a senior manager. I was a technical delivery manager. I had about 120 people working for me. It was a big job. I had about a $12 million portfolio that I was managing. It was all nice, but I always felt the void because I wasn't doing much technical. It was more management. And I always felt that this is not permanent. And at that time, I decided saying, oh shit, I should go and find another job. And this bank job came out of nowhere. In fact, I didn't even apply for the position. They found me, they found my resume in their system because I applied for a job 2.5 years ago or so. And then they called me and said, we have an opportunity. Would you be willing to discuss? They flew me from Philadelphia to Buffalo, New York, and I did some 6 rounds of interview. And then they said, we gave you this offer. And I took it. That's one of the difficult career options. And within the bank, I changed division a couple of times. So it will always come through, but you just learn and move on. Do you think friends are more important to achieve goals? Definitely. It's like going to the gym, right? If you go to the gym and do it alone, you're not going to get your goals faster. But at the same time, try to have a partner who will help you out to achieve those goals. You will achieve your goals. Be it, let's say, you are putting 100 push-ups, and if you want your partner to do 120 push-ups, that gives you the motivation to push you to 120 push-ups. So choose your friends wisely. And they are an important thing to both good and bad. They teach you both the good and bad. And there are certain friends who will still stand by you no matter what you do in your life. Even if you are a villain, they'll still support you. It's like the movies. So I've seen both the ends of it. Believe it or not, I still have friends from my LKG classmates. We have a WhatsApp group just for my LKG classmates. I still have them. So it's always good. Friends are important. Can we being overconfident ain't no dangerous? Will it limit yourself from learning new stuff? Yes, certainly it will. One of the things that I did as a mistake was I was overconfident. My school principal would call me and tell, I like your confidence, but you're very overconfident. So that will kill you. Because when we used to face quiz competitions, I would say I would have prepared. I would not have prepared at all. My principal would call and tell you're overconfident, that will kill you one day. So don't be overconfident. Be confident, but don't be overconfident. That will actually burn you out soon. Bhavani, that was for you. I am Tejashree. I would like to ask a question that's how to stay motivated all the time. What can I do for that? You can read good stuff, read a lot of books. That will help you motivated and it will keep you going. Um, Take everything with a grain of salt. Make the best out of every situation. That will keep you motivated and will keep you and dream, dream good. That will help you keep running. I'm going to skip the next question because I just spoke about it. Knowledge to go abroad for my career, sir. See, abroad, you choose. The boundary is unlimited here. Um, just learn the basics. That's what I keep telling. Learn the basics. Bring up your analytical skills. Bring up your problem solving skills. That will help you go wherever you want. To settle in India or foreign country, what is your opinion, sir? See, I don't have an opinion. I have successful friends who are in India who are much successful than me. I have friends here in the US who are not successful and have been struggling in life. So it's up to you to make the best use of it. So, and again, in this dawn age of technology, boundary is unlimited. You don't have to be in India or in the US to do something big. Look at all the unicorn companies that have come. I was just reading an article. We have about 36 unicorn companies that came out just from Asia. And if you look at it, some of the AI and machine learning technology companies are more in the Asian market than in the US market. US used to be the focal point of technology, not anymore. There are companies in India, there are companies in China, Taiwan, companies in Israel. They are doing much better than what some of the American companies are doing. So boundaries again, not a limited one. Uh, Get plays in core companies or software companies. Manish Shankar. All the companies are now becoming more like a technology company. Even if you look at a bank, we call it a banking and financial institution, but at the behest of it, they all call themselves a technology company because technology makes things happen. Uh, so it doesn't matter whether you work for a software company or core company. Look at your core competency. If that is what that company is doing, then chase it. It's no big deal. Lokesh from EC, when you feel low or depressed, what keeps you motivated to chase your goals? I listen to a lot of music. Ilayaraja keeps you alive, man. That's my medicine to go for. I listen to music, I read, or that's the best. Srinivasan Mechanical, good morning, sir. Let me know about your working company. What are you doing in that company? I just said I'm going to skip that. What do you think that the engineers nowadays are lacking? Can you mention some tips to improve our efficiency? Good question. A lot of people don't know the basics. So when I was working in Cognizant, we used to have in teams in India. There used to be a time where people were finding it very hard to find a job, and when they find a job, they make sure they give their 100, 200% to it, and they learn the basic properly. And then there were kids who came to join the company with 2 or 3 offers in hand. They would have had multiple offers, but then they become complacent in the job. They become very lazy and not know the basics, and then put yourself and everybody in miserable spot. So sometimes I feel that engineering course becomes an extension of your high school. This is not your 10th or 12th exam. Don't treat your engineering subjects as another tuition center subject. It's not. You don't need a tuition to go and study engineering. You have to just focus on the basics. Don't look for a guide. Don't look for a shortcut. Put your effort in to study the basics. You'll be fine. Um, Yalini, EC department, practical aim or goal we fix can't be achieved by everyone. At some circumstances, goal might be changed. So how to adapt to new goals? Goals are going to change, Yalini. But you have to, like I said, your dream could be something big. But then your intermediate goals, your long-term and short-term goals are going to be different. Set that up, and that would help you keep you in direction to do your goal. If your goal changes, that's fine. Today you wanted to become because you're independent, you want to become something. Tomorrow you may be part of a family, and their circumstances could change. It's okay. Family means it's not that you don't have to do. Top 500. I was just reading Forbes article about the top 100 women in their respective industry. Those are people who have raised family. When I used to work for my client, one of my clients back at Melon, they are one of my clients. There was a managing director in UK. She was managing the whole asset management division. She was one of the powerful figure. She had 6 kids, and in UK you get about 3 months labor maternity, post maternity vacation, or 6 months post maternity vacation. And see, she had 6 kids. In spite of it, she was most successful in her company. So it's up to you to make the best out of it. So I said I'll stop on Avantika's question, and she has a second question: how to overcome low self-esteem? Believe in yourself, Avantika. Low self-esteem is the level that you define. You can change it. It doesn't have to be. Feel good about yourself. Your low self-esteem will go away. You have to be. Sorry, I just couldn't ignore this. Abida, you have to be accountable for meeting your goals. You have to take responsibility. That's what I kept saying. Nobody else will take responsibility for you. You have to live your life. Nobody else can live your life. And Kishore, that's my last question from the chat. Why isn't anyone stepping up to start their own business, even though the government is ready to? I don't think that is true. There's a lot of companies that are stepping up to start their own business. I don't know why you say there is not enough people. I have a lot of entrepreneurs in my batch itself who have started companies that are then being successful. I have a guy who's doing solar panels. He was not what do you call a superstar in our class. He was a mediocre student. I don't even know what he did in the first 10 years, but he runs a solar panel company, and he's actually recruiting. He's giving jobs to new people. And I have another guy in my classmate, mechanical, who was not again a superstar or anybody. He was another mediocre student. But today he runs his own industry. He has his own industry in Tirunelveli. He was actually running his industry. He was working for someone in Chennai. He came out of it, started his own firm. He was running his own firm, and now he has come to Tirunelveli to expand his firm and do the job. Vijay Tools and Company, I think that's his name today. So I don't think. Why do you think we have more unicorn startups in India than in US? Flipkart, Zomato, Swiggy. Those are the big names that you know of. There are 100 other companies that you don't even know they exist, and they are all startups. Incubation is too good in India these days. There's a lot of opportunity, not just from government fundings. Seed investors are available. A lot of opportunities out there. Nobody's stopping you from starting up a new firm. That's the end of the questions in chat. Sir, I'm done for now.
Thank you, Kalimuthu.
No problem, sir. Pleasure is mine.
So now,
Thank you once again, guys. There was a wonderful opportunity, and I think I spent a quality time. I wanted to be well prepared for this. Unfortunately, I wasn't prepared at all. I came impromptu into this conversation. I hope it made some sense and benefit to you guys. And if you need anything, you can ping me in LinkedIn, Kalimuthu CHITHAMBRAM. You can find me there. And even sir has my number. If you want to hit me on WhatsApp, go ahead, and I'll be more than happy to help.
Good morning, one and all. I'm Mahalakshmi from IT Section 12. It gives an immense pleasure to deliver vote of thanks to all of you joined here. First, I would like to thank our chief guest, Mr. Kalimuthu Chidambaram, for sharing valuable information with us. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank our head of the Department of Science and Humanities, Dr. M.A. Neelagandan, sir, for motivating us for conducting this program. Then I would like to thank the program coordinators and faculty members for this collaborative work to make this program successful. And also let me thank my friends for this active participation in the program. I thank all the technicians for being highly supportive. Finally, I thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Have a good day, folks.
Thank